Example 7 says solve that x plus 1 over the absolute value of x minus 4 is greater than or equal to 0. So we need to find those critical values again. So what are those numbers that we put on the number line? Which ones are they? More than that. X-intercepts and vertical asymptotes. Okay, so this one's a rational function, so we have both of them.
Is that funny, Reagan?
You like that?
All right, so let's find those x-intercepts. How? Set the numerator equal to 0. Subtract the 1. And we get x equals negative 1. Now, how do we find the vertical asymptotes? It's where the denominator is equal to 0, right? Well, we have an absolute value this time in it. The only way that the 0 is going to be on the bottom is if the absolute value is equal to 0, right? And so the only way the absolute value can have a 0 inside of it is if what's inside is equal to 0. So we're going to set what's inside the absolute value equal to 0 to find that vertical asymptote. Alright, so we add the 4 over and we get x equals 4. So I'm going to do my number line. Put my infinities. Put those critical values. Pick an x value inside of each one. And then we're going to plug it in and solve. Now remember, the absolute value tells you the distance the number is from 0. But yeah, we're going to see that it's going to do something a little odd on my graph. So no, because the one on top is negative. Okay. The absolute value is only around the denominator, so it's going to make that negative 6 that we had on bottom positive, but you still have the negative 1 on top, so it makes a negative 1 over 6. Alright, so we went through and we found our signs, but I notice I have a positive positive. So I need to check, is that okay right there? What's happening at that 4? Vertical asymptote, but normally we still alternate at vertical asymptotes. What's special about this vertical asymptote? It was inside that absolute value, okay? So that made our graph do something a little different. And if we actually had graphed this to look at it, you would see the graph shows something like this, and then it's doing this over here, okay? So it's one of those that's a special circumstance. Kind of like the multiplicity. Even multiplicity, we're going to positive, positive. If your vertical asymptote is inside absolute value, you can have the same sign. All right, so, but to answer this, we're looking for where it is greater than or equal to 0. What kind of numbers are greater than 0? Positives. And am I going to use a bracket or a parenthesis? Bracket, because it's equal to. Now, there's only one problem though, because remember we had a vertical asymptote. What do we know about a vertical asymptote? Nothing's going to touch it. So remember now, when we're looking at that bracket, this is for the x-intercept. We talked about before, remember your vertical asymptote is always parentheses. So we talked about that, seems like forever ago. Alright, so what is my solution here? Alright, so -1, comma 4. Now 4 is my vertical asymptote, so use a parenthesis. And then, oh, it's -1, thank you. And then 4 to infinity. I cannot put them together because can it actually equal the 4 at the 4? No, so you can't write it from -1 to infinity, even though we'd like to. And there's our solution.